The benefits of visibility and transparency. Today's flow short topic. I'm Joshua Barnes, and I'm joined once again by Steve Pereira. And yeah, this is I think, a very interesting topic for many reasons. But before we get into the heart of the discussion, I do want to mention that Steve had a pretty significant event. Steve's got a new book called Flow Engineering that just came out. Steve might be able to put a link to some of what you've posted here on LinkedIn about the unboxing of your book and yeah, a bit about it. But wanted to mention that right off the bat.
Thanks, I appreciate that. I should have one on my desk. I don't have one. It's in the other room.
Exactly, to hold up.
I'm unprepared, but this is how you know it's live.
Exactly. So for those of you that are maybe the first time seeing one of these flow shorts, what we're doing is we're trying to raise awareness of both the Value Stream Management Consortium as well as all of the benefits that members have. And membership is at a super low bar to join. There is a rather large amount of blog entries, which are just a series of articles and content that's been written. And which, today, one of them, the benefits of visibility and transparency, we'll put a link to the blog post in the chat. But one of the things in thinking about visibility, visualization works because we process visual information so much better than other forms. I know in some of our training workshops, we've got, I think it's a 3M study that we kind of link to or quote. It's like 60,000 times quicker that we process visual information than other forms, right? And it's just so, well, it's so powerful. And the tools and the platforms that we have these days to bring to life a lot of the information we've got in a visual format, I don't know, it's just never been a better time.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that there's a lot happening that is encouraging in the realm of bringing data to our ability to visualize it and understand it better. I think we've learned a lot about that. And I think when I think about visibility, I think, like, first of all, we need access to data and information. And, we can kind of remix it and present it in many different ways. But I think in a lot of organizations, they struggle to just get, quality information. And before we can even think about making sense of it, we're correlating it to different data and different contexts and time horizons and all the things that make it especially helpful.
Yeah, and I think that in addition to just the data that we can get out of the tools and the things like that, I mean, we also have platforms where we're able to take information, such as our virtual whiteboards these days, right? And so what I really like is I like how, yes, in a tool like Jira, right, we can see a Kanban board, we can see a sprint board, and that's fantastic, especially if it's set up with appropriate states and so forth. But when we also can put that type of information through the integration of these tools now, whether it's Lucid Spark or Miro or the other ones, and we can have multiple boards representing different areas of the value stream and the flow of work that's going on, and we can see it all in one place. That really brings to life a lot of what's going on and how we're able to then start getting benefits of seeing delays and seeing how often work is moving forwards and backwards in the workflow, and then understanding why. Is it a defect? Is it because we're just routinely needing to get additional clarification? Is it a gap in skills or experience? Like, all of the things that we can see from an end-to-end perspective, especially when it's visualized, is just such a great benefit.
Yeah, I think that I spend a lot of time thinking about connecting dots. I always I like being able to kind of correlate information and arrange it and visualize it and then try to understand different circumstances. And part of that is understanding, part of it is communication also, that
Yeah.
aspect of make a picture, it's going to be worth 1,000 words, not only to you, who's trying to make sense of something, but to someone else, where if you make sense of something, that's of limited value. But if you can make it make sense to other people, that's enormous. And if you can all share the same understanding, that's even more powerful. So, as I'm a huge fan of value stream maps for that purpose. Very big fan of digital whiteboarding and mapping in general for that. But I think that we also gain this ability now with the help of AI to kind of synthesize all kinds of different data and start to build, pictures, whether they're visual or just a narrative around what are we actually seeing, if we go look at something, if we're collecting survey data, we've never been more prepared to kind of translate qualitative data into quantitative data, with the help of AI to synthesize things like sentiment and patterns, and all the things that show up in data when you know how to look at it, but most of us don't know how to process statistical information.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing, from just a transparency perspective, right? The past 2 days, I was delivering a value stream management workshop. And one of the things that we cover in that, and then we got into some good discussion, is things like when you still get unplanned work, or, there's work pushed on teams or pushed within the value stream. And by being able to show, this is what we're working on, this is our work in process, this is what we're planning to do, these are the things that we've already made a decision are valuable, and is your work more important than this? And you lay it all out on the table, right? And it's like, so I get it, Steve, you're bringing this to the team once again, right? And I know you think it's a little thing. I talk about the whole domino thing, right? How a little bitty domino can have a really big effect, right? And is it more valuable than this, or is it mean we're going to delay something else from getting done? Oh, by the way, the things that we're planning to do next, there's a dependency on, right? Which is going to affect other people within the value stream. And so now we might have carryover work. We have all these things that cause inefficiencies and drag in the workflow. And again, by having transparency and also visualizing it, typically you can have a very different type of conversation, or in a lot of cases you can.
I love that highlight, because I think that one of the things that we forget about when we think about transparency is we think about transparency from top down. We always want to know what the leaders are planning, and what are they doing, what's happening behind the scenes, as individual contributors, so that we know what's going on. And because we kind of feel disconnected from strategy, or customer value, or things that are really important to the business while we're in the trenches doing the work. But I think it really works both ways. As you mentioned, that leaders don't want to just disrupt work and waste people's time and pull people in different directions. And if, one of the things that I learned, after failing at it for a very long time, was that instead of just saying yes to everything, sort of presenting that context of like, okay, well, this is what I'm 80% close to finishing. Do you want me to drop that in service of this thing? Or would you like me to finish that first and then move on to this? And, by the way, there's someone else who just finished something and they could maybe take this on. And so with that transparency of what's actually in flow, what's happening, what are all the moving pieces involved, and how can we best leverage those to get what we want? Because, nobody wants to waste time and effort. And I find that's very powerful. And, that I think typically happens in conversation, whereas increasingly it's a possibility to just represent that state in data and visualization. So that leader doesn't even have to go tap someone on the shoulder. They can see, okay, well, here's our current work in progress.
Yeah. Yeah. So, some of the other things that I know I've either read or heard you talk about are things like customer journey mapping, or maybe customer touch point mapping. any thoughts that you want to maybe share on that?
Well, I've I learned about customer journey mapping a long time ago, probably when I first learned about value stream mapping and ignored it. I was like taking a business executive course, like intro MBA stuff, and learned about these things, but not in the context of connecting all these dots together. And there was not a lot of meaning behind it. But what I found it's very powerful to think about customer journey as someone in the value stream space, because that's really where the value stream has its impact. It's delivering products and services, it's delivering these interventions, whether it's marketing campaigns or support, uh, incident resolution, to customers where customers are, and that gets delivered via value stream. So it was really powerful to me to start from this customer journey representation and kind of look at, okay, well, how's any of this happening? How is the customer actually moving through their journey? And how are we enabling that to be enjoyable, productive, not frustrating, in a way that you build those raving fans all the way at the end of the journey. And so working from those touch points back to the value stream, you start to see this network of how everything happens. And it was like a lightning bulb, or a light bulb, lightning bolt moment for me, that just really unlocked this view of the organization in a way that all the dots started to connect. And I could start to see, okay, well, if we start to turn this dial over here, it's going to have an effect on actual customer outcomes in a positive or negative way, and we can make those, we can start to make those decisions more effectively. So yeah, big fan of customer journey mapping. It also, I think, really gives you a language to speak more effectively to product folks in higher levels of the business, who care more about that customer journey than what it takes to deliver all those outcomes, right? I mean, at different levels of the organization, they have these separate perspectives. Being able to speak to them in their language with visualization that they understand is an incredibly powerful communication tool.
Yeah. So in the chat, we've got the link to this blog entry posted. A bit of what we've been talking about between value stream mapping, customer journey. There is content also, if you become a member of the VSMC, inside of the training that's available for free once you become a member. So yeah, check out the consortium's website, check out the membership. Both of those have been posted. One of the things that I'm super excited about is next month is going to be VSM Awareness Month. So for any of the value stream workshops that I'll be delivering, we're gonna put out probably like a Black Friday-ish type of sale, and also tie that back into membership of the VSMC. Next week we will be covering next generation DevOps, and that article was written by the CEO of the consortium, which is Helen Beal. So Helen, if you're watching this, expect a Slack message. Steve and I are going to see if you want to join us next week to chat a little bit about that topic. And for everyone that's watching this live or on replay, if there's any topics that you don't see in the blog entries in the consortium, let us know. We'd be glad to both get an expert or an industry representative, a member of the VSMC, to maybe write something, and then we'll deliver one of these flow shorts on it. Steve, any last thoughts before we wrap up today?
No, this was great. I feel like I overtalked. So this was a lot of fun. I get to talk about a lot of stuff that I'm really into.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, thanks everyone, and we'll see you next week on our next Flow Short.